Hello everyone, and now welcome to a game between Lin and 120. This game taking place here on the ruins of Ashara. On the bottom left-hand side of the map, we have Lin spawning as the blue orc, going up against 120, who is spawned as the yellow undead. Undead versus Orc in this 1v1 matchup. Death Knight as the hero for Undead. Meanwhile, Farseer with no barracks or war mill yet. I'm still going to be interested on the timing. Are we going into a very fast tech to tier 2? We are. And with that, tech to tier 2 before barracks and before Voodoo Lounge. War mill is almost just there to speed up the lumber gathering as the units are just getting to work out here on the battlefield. All right, Lin quickly going after this Forest Troll Shadow Priest, trying to finish it off. Perhaps drop an item, get a little bit of that experience. Now going after the Ogre Warrior instead. Makes sense. Try to remove the healers so that you're just not constantly just trying to get a lot of damage going back and forth here. Ogre Warrior gonna fall, and now Claws of Attack +5 picked up by the Farseer as it goes around the map. Death Knight out here as well. Are we gonna see some quick shots? Who's going to get some damage? There goes an ensnare. Skeletal minions could get, well, finished off here. A little bit of focus, and there goes a skeletal minion now. 120 trying to fall back, wanting to make sure he doesn't allow too much free experience to be given to the Farseer, as the Death Knight is going to be able to get on top of that skeletal minion, yes, and able to get the deny. So some early skirmishing and just early effective micro limiting the amount of experience that enemy heroes were able to get. We are getting up a dual barracks now. All right, so interesting to see, well, tech to tier 2 before you get, before you place down a barracks, and then suddenly building dual racks while you are taking the tier 2 here. We could be looking at a lot of headhunters getting added and trained up. But the follow-up question is, are we going to go into tier 3? Are we going to go into berserkers? What is this long-term strategy, as orc players don't usually go for dual racks or this particular build here to try and churn out these units? All right, let's go ahead, get into this engagement here. A couple of skeletal minions going to get denied once more. There goes a little bit of Death Coil finding that Murloc there, as the Death Knight desperately wants to get up to level 2. Meanwhile, Farseer is a little bit further away. You're going to see one skeletal minion get taken down. Death Knight finally at level 2. We are looking at, well, Unholy Aura, obviously, as a couple of ghouls could get finished off here. Low hit point skeleton or low hit point wolf trying to back away. Ghouls now have a good chance of surrounding, or a higher chance of surrounding, the Farseer if the Farseer is not careful. All right, Spirit Wolves now retreating back here. More and more Headhunters getting added and trained up. Shadow Hunter as that second hero, and we're only training off of one barracks right now. So yeah, that's always one of the questions. Why do you go into dual production if you're not going to be trying to constantly train up those units again and again? Farseer still sitting at level 1 after all this time. We do not have a Voodoo Lounge yet, so the Farseer is going to have a hard time trying to stay alive, as we see a Dark Ranger as the second hero. All right, so Dark Ranger, second hero, killed killed a critter with that black arrow, perhaps hoping or wanting to see some skeletal minions pop on up, as the Farseer now in a little bit of trouble here. We do see Healing Wave here. Spirit Wolf's going to get resummoned, and we're now going into an engagement. This army of Headhunters, however, actually quite scary, as they're able to focus down pretty fast. There goes one round of attacks, and then followed by another. Suddenly, the unit gets finished off here. Headhunters, 550 range, a little bit. Well, I believe that's the same range as a Crypt Fiend, as both sides still fighting their way through. All right, couple of pokes to finish off some of these Murloc Flesh Eaters. Death Knight could try and get a Death Coil off. Skeletal minions are just constantly getting bursted down with Focus Fire. Meanwhile, the Farseer is suffering quite a bit of damage here, as the Dark Ranger now looks to back away again. All right, Death Knight unsure of how to put forward or press forward. The Death Knight sitting at 29 over 30 supply compared to Lin's 38 over 41. 120 has a much smaller army here, and it looks like it's just going to continue that way as the Headhunters, with all of their focus fire range working together, almost like a play out of the Night Elf playbook. All right, looking to finish off some of these units. Shadowhunter able to get a big round of healing, as we are now teching the tier 3 and perhaps going to Berserkers. The Berserker upgrade being able to get up to 475 hit points, a big deal, and then also adding in that faster attack speed. All right, coming on through. Well, some Wolves going to try and engage here. Shadowhunter in that frontline spot. We are finally getting that Voodoo Lounge that has been missing for quite some time. And we're looking at a Shadowhunter perhaps going to be shy of level 2 or get closer. And should be able to get there off of these last 2 Trappers. Yeah, I think that should be enough. Yep, there you go. Belt of Giant Strength on the Shadowhunter. Clarity Potions. And, well, once more on the move again. Undead also taking this time to clear out creep camps. Ogre Magi creep camp going to get finished off here. Death Knight sitting at level 2 did pick up Vampiric Aura with those Scourge Bone Chimes. Headhunter upgrade not yet started, as we are not yet at Fortress, and we are going into a single bestiary with now thorium ranged weapons, trying to get 2-0 upgrades and perhaps add in a Kodo Beast too. Alright. Farseer, Centaur Sorcerer going to get cleaned up here. Shadowhunter staying at level 2 does have a pendant of energy. Farseer should be able to get up to level 3, level 2 Spirit Wolves to absorb a little bit more of that damage. Farseer also will picking up a Tome of Intelligence for a little bit of auto attack as well. Both sides using this opportunity to clear out creeps, get more items, get higher levels, as the Lich now going to be joining the Knight or the Undead hero, well, trifecta. Dark Ranger, Lich, Death Knight, 3-2 or level 3 on the Death Knight, level 2 on the Lich, level 2 on the Dark Ranger, level 1 on the Lich, as both sides are still just clearing out these creep camps now. All right, the Berserkers with that frenzy able to attack much more quickly. Farseer sitting at level 3 trying to clean up the remainder of this creep camp now, and dual level 3 heroes for the Orc, as the Undead now shows up on the bottom right. Are we going to get into an engagement here? This is going to become a problem. Healing wave bouncing around. The Berserkers don't feel like they are ready to try and get a good engagement. Are we going to see a quick Hex right there? Devour Magic, removing that Hex and giving a little bit of mana back to that Destroyer. Meanwhile, Tauren Chieftain as the third and final hero for the Orc army. Now, the Tauren Chieftain is only sitting at level 1, so his stomp is not going to be that large to try and stop these swarming ghouls. It's really at level 3 with that level 2 stomp where you're able to stop that swarming army and allowing your Berserkers to really focus them down. We do see War Song battle drums. I don't believe the upgraded drums have been started yet, and we're sitting at 50 supply for both sides. All right. Ring of Protection +5 picked up by the Death Knight. Meanwhile, Lin could have actually cleared out this top left-hand creep camp, but going to try and engage here. Shadowhunter coming back off, coming to try and engage. Do we see the reinforced defenses? We do. So that is going to protect against those destroyers who would normally, well, be able to poke that apart. Oh, there's a quick absorb of mana there and a death coil. 120 making sure to not well, give any units for free, but now well, things are kind of trapped into a corner. Tauren Chieftain looking to put down a stomp. There's an invulnerability. There's a stomp. Healing wave bouncing around. One Berserker quickly getting taken down as we're looking for better positioning. All right, low hit point Destroyer gets to find the death coil, able to stay alive. Tauren Chieftain gets down another stomp. Low hit point units while trying to retreat away. Chain Lightning finding a number of low hit point ghouls, but I don't believe any units were really killed. Berserkers are now taking quite a bit of damage as Obsidian statues are trying to regroup and recollect with the undead army. Skeletal minions still popping around here. Low hit point Berserker backing up, drawing in a little bit more aggro again as the Tauren Chieftain still trying to lead the charge here. Could have a little bit of problems. Berserker trying to push in 52 supply compared to 57. The big Frost Nova, level 3 now on the Dark Ranger as the Frost Nova able to get in some Icy Blast and start the domino of Berserker deaths. More Berserkers now coming across on the far side here, trying to poke off a little bit more on these other units. And, well, the Tauren Chieftain without endurance were unable to catch up to those faster moving Obsidian statues as the Berserkers quickly change targets as the Tauren Chieftain now could be in trouble. Tauren Chieftain down to 36 hit points. Level 4 now on the Farseer. Death Knight decides to not give chase. There goes an Obsidian statue as the Berserkers are trying to fall back too. 42 supply compared to 42. Destroyers are in the air. They've been able to, well, stay alive after all this time. And now it feels like all the momentum is on the undead side, forcing a Scroll of Town Portal now trying to retreat back as a Chain Lightning applied. Up to Lin to recuperate this army. Very low on hit points. Tauren Chieftain going to get healed back up, and what needs a bit of mana as well. Meanwhile, undead army sitting at 332, level 2 on that Lich. We saw a couple of strong Frost Novas against those tightly grouped units of Berserkers, and once one Berserker fell, it seemed like the focus fire was just was just causing all of those Berserkers to fall. 475 hit points against with medium armor, and focus fire was just too much to handle. Tauren Chieftain does get up to level 2. Shadowhunter gets up to level 4. So a dual hero level up, a big deal here as the Tauren Chieftain, well, no, Farseer are going to pick up the Tome of Intelligence and now still getting some more auto attacks. So that Farseer 33 to 39. And then adding in an additional plus 17 damage. That auto attack is quite heavy. All right, Tauren Chieftain in that frontline spot, ready to engage here. Destroyers want to devour magic as the Farseer still, well, looking to push back and forth again. All right, a little bit of poking. Tauren Chieftain unable to line things up at all. Death Knight. All right, Purge onto the Destroyer. Their auto attack, I believe, from the Farseer, able to purge down a unit that's normally immune to magic, but that purge effect just caused him to stall, allowing the Berserkers to focus it down quickly. All right, both sides going to try and engage here. I'm not quite sure what happened to my overlay as we see a little bit of a dance going back and forth. 2-0 upgrades on those Berserkers. The ghouls do not have any upgrades as the Dark Ranger now trying to push their way through. Both sides want to make sure that they don't make some sort of critical update. Death Knight getting a Death Coil Frost Nova could be a problem. The Farseer wants perhaps another lucky purge against one of those units, forcing that fight. Kodo Beast, well, needs to be careful. Are we going to see any purges? No, we do not. A lucky purge onto an Obsidian statue would pretty much, well, force the undead to try and stay in position for just a little bit. Low hit point Berserker, or Berserker taking some of those frontline shots. And this is just a little bit of a dance still going back and forth. Tauren Chieftain knowing he cannot use a stomp as the heroes would be able to get out of the stun range during that animation time. All right, in comes some ensnares. This is going to start that forced engagement. Tauren Chieftain getting a little bit of heal. We're going to see a Raider now try and back away. He's in that frontline spot. He's going to be in a little bit of trouble. All right, both sides fighting their way through. Destroyer now finally gets taken down. Kodo Beast coming in from the side here. Berserkers with that frenzy able to focus down quite a bit of these units as the Lich turns back around against that Tauren Chieftain. Tauren Chieftain still has a scroll of healing. Kodo Beast, nothing in its belly. Death Coil finding the Lich in order to stay alive. Death Knight still only sitting at level 3 after all this time. The Orc heroes actually higher in level. Not quite sure why the Tauren Chieftain looks like it was the first hero to be trained up. Yeah, they like shuffled my heroes on the side. All right. getting ready for this next engagement now. Dark Ranger lobbing some attacks. 50 supply compared to 59. Lin, well, with the larger army, and the Berserkers trying to continue to poke out some of these units. Tauren Chieftain still sitting at level 2. If we see level 3, that stomp radius should be large enough to really stop any of the ghouls from being able to get within that swarming position. All right. Unit's going to get ready to engage here. There's a Purge onto a Ghoul. There's a Death Coil. Frost Nova finding a Berserker. And who's coming out on top here? More auto damage here. Tauren Chieftain trying to continue this push. Lower hit point Berserker could try and retreat back. 3-0 upgrades now for the Orc range unit, and the Tauren Chieftain does fight. Well, we do see an ensnare onto an Obsidian statue, perhaps trying to force an engagement. Tauren Chieftain gets a good stomp across all these units. Silence, however, level 3. The Tauren Chieftain is currently silenced. Does have a potion of lesser invulnerability. Are we going to see another stomp being used here? We're just waiting for the stomp. No more ghouls. The Berserkers were able to burst them down as the Orc, and now with a larger army, perhaps going to try and finish things off. Dark Ranger is in trouble. She gets bursted down with a Chain Lightning, and after 3 minutes of dancing back and forth, it feels like, yes, Orc comes out on top, able to finish off all of these remaining units. All right, level 5 finally reached by the Shadow Hunter after the Death Knight falls, but a beautiful fight right there. Lin and 120 going back and forth, trying to find the right opportunity, and it really did come down to that. Tauren Chieftain getting in a good stomp before the silence hit that Tauren Chieftain. Once those ghouls were stunned for a couple of seconds, the Berserkers were able to finish them off, get that momentum lead, get the Tauren Chieftain to level 3, and that was just icing on the cake at that point. The Tauren Chieftain didn't need any more stomps since all of those ghouls were gone. Lich was low on hit points. Death Knight able to Death Coil save the Lich, but while Death Coil was on cooldown, the Dark Ranger fell to a Stomp and Chain Lightning. Let me know what you guys thought about this game in the comments below.